right, so basically we get a recap of the double eviction, Azah's sort of DR session on her thought process winning HOH, which doesn't really shed a whole lot of light on like what we basically already knew, which is she immediately regretted her nominations. And to be honest, there's not really much she could have done. I feel like she probably would have nominated Hannah anyway, even if she had time to think on it. But even in the event Xavier or Kyland win veto, she puts up Hannah as a replacement and she goes home anyway. So like, as much as I would like to kind of rip into Azah for not nominating, Kyland and Xavier, or even like Xavier and Big D, I mean, she's really just in a position where she's been manipulated to believe that she's going to be taken to the end, which, as is evident by the next HOH and nominations, is not true. So basically, Hannah gets sent home. We see her basically pleading Kyland and Xavier to keep her. They promise her votes, both of them, thinking that the other's going to say no. So they end up looking really dumb, voting Hannah out, because apparently you give a sympathy vote when it's 2 votes. I don't know, that was weird. Didn't want to give a sympathy vote to Tiffany though. Interesting. So then we move into, seeing her eviction, and we kind of just have the fallout of the double. So once again, a lot of drama. Basically, Azah's like, I felt kind of blindsided, like, why are you guys pulling like this? Oh, I'm gonna use, because Kyland won the veto, so he used it on Xavier because they probably don't trust Azah and Big D as much as they trust them, or as they did before. So basically, Azah and Derek were like, so what was the whole deal with like, Kyland using the veto, me going up, and like you guys doing like this weird, like, you guys have like a final 2, you're like talking, by yourselves. And in my opinion, they play it off really bad, but I'm not in the house, so whatever. It's coming off so weird. Like, I don't like watching these 4 in the end, especially people who haven't been playing the game. Yes, I know you contribute a social game, you convince this person this week to not do this. Like, okay, I get it. Everyone contributes something to the game. They're a player in the game. I would hope they do literally anything. I'm saying the fact that they've made it to the end and have not had to do, as much work as the others, some can say that that's good gameplay. I disagree. I just think that they just have done the bare minimum and they expect the most. Mainly Derek. Azah, not so much. Derek's like, I expect to sit in the final 2. One of those chairs better be for me. It's like, who in the world on the jury would legitimately vote for Big D, not because they're friends with him, but because he played a good game? Crickets. So then we see the HOH. It's sponsored by some CBS show. I don't know. It's like a DNA thing. You have to like match the tile. And this is the first time Xavier beats Kyland in a head-to-head competition. Xavier's the new HOH. We saw that kind of when live feeds came on. He was in the HOH bed, but we didn't want to assume right away that they had played HOH. But because the show was pre-recorded, they played HOH earlier in the day, yesterday. So, was it yesterday? Yeah. And then nominations happened Thursday. So Azah and Kyland are on the block, because Derek F said, oh, I'm not on the block, blah, blah, like I need to win veto. That Kyland, he's the one standing between us and the final 3, like the typical, stuff you'd expect. Azah is pretty much the target, according to Xavier, but Kyland is, if you've watched the feeds, looks kind of insane. Like, he's just like cleaning or riding on the cycle, like juggling or like sitting by himself. And obviously right now there's really not much strategy. It's basically whoever can win the competitions. So I understand he's probably just in the mindset of like studying over and over. And I have pretty much, I bet pretty strongly that Kyland is going to win the veto, because other than Hannah, he's really, I mean, Xavier's, you know, intelligent at remembering dates or, you know, competition, you know, aspects, the typical stuff that they're going to ask in the veto. I feel like Kyland probably has a leg up only because of the track record that he has against Xavier. But because Xavier's feeling the win off the HOH, he may break through. I don't expect Azah or Derek F to win in the slightest, but who knows? I didn't think Azah or Derek would win in the HOH during the double, and Azah did. So at this point, I personally would like to see Kyland at least make it to final 2. I don't necessarily want him to win. I think he's done like really disgusting like things, misogynistic things, lied unnecessarily, which like, you're in the game, I'm not, but I don't know, it's just kind of weird to like lie so like boldly when you don't need to, especially to people who you've trusted this entire game, being Hannah and Tiffany, I guess, up until the end. So then we really just have to wait until veto and see who wins. So I believe that's played tomorrow. I'm not sure what time, but I'll let you know who wins. And based off of who wins, we'll pretty much figure out who's getting evicted. If Derek wins, he's, I'm assuming, getting rid of, I don't know. Like, I'm really just like confused on like where Derek's loyalty is. I'm pretty sure everyone except Azah wins veto. Azah's evicted. Unless Xavier's like not going to bring Kyland. He might evict Kyland. I don't know how true like Azah being the target is. I don't know. The whole like, oh, 2 men making it to the end who have played good games, like it's just kind of weird. I don't know. And it happens every season. So then after that, we'll be in the final 3, and then the basically finale will happen. It just feels like it, I don't know, the 2 double evictions back to back really just like, I mean, I'm glad in a way of like it's skipping past the worst part of the season, which in my opinion has started since final 6 or even final 7, because double eviction. So yeah, the first double eviction is really where I just kind of didn't care. I will say this, because I don't think we've really addressed it. Tiffany and Hannah, their biggest downfall is not looking past final 6 far enough, and like relying too much on what they solidified, because they should have known that everyone was going to do that and then some. And I feel like they kind of did the bare minimum and it was a little too late. And obviously Tiffany's actions impacted, you know, her going home. But I feel like Tiffany had this game like so thought out, but did not think like, how am I going to be positioned to make it to final 2? Because like she got all 6 of them in final 6, but then she's the biggest target. So like, why? I don't know. Like, I don't really know how you don't make yourself the biggest target when you've basically gotten everyone to where they are, and then they don't need you anymore. They're gonna take you out. And then with Hannah, she's just collateral damage because she's, you know, arguably one of the best in terms of mental competitions, even though she didn't win much. She won, I think, 2 competitions, maybe 3, I don't know. But I think just an intelligent personality, especially a woman, intimidated the men. And that's why now we have 3 men against 1, and it's pretty soon probably going to be 3 just in the finals. So that's disappointing, especially on a season this, I feel like, important. As much as it is about, you know, the Black House guest this season, I feel like the misogyny towards the end is just really rubbing me the wrong way. Obviously, you know, the season's going to stand as a historic one. I just wish that the end of the game, like in a season like this, didn't just turn like every other season where it's just the women get cut at the end and then it's two men sitting next to each other. I wouldn't care if they weren't being like just overtly misogynistic. All three of them have said, you know, very problematic things. And frankly, I think that they're afraid to sit next to a woman in the end because I feel like they're gonna lose. So I don't know. That's pretty much it. It's weird seeing an episode on Friday. I don't know. The episode's so boring. Like there's not any good like DR sessions from these people. I feel like these are the four people who've had the driest DRs besides maybe like Brent way back in season, or not season, week 3. Just really dry people, personalities that are left. Right now, I prefer Kyland to win over Xavier only because I feel like he's done more. But I know most people probably prefer Xavier to win. I really don't know. I really don't care who wins at this point. I just want the season to be over. And I think that's a good stopping point.